Welcome to using the TI-84. This is a TI-84 Plus graphing calculator. Turning the calculator on. There's an on button, and it's on. Turning the calculator off. Many students don't turn their calculator off, but it could be using up its battery in your backpack. So off is written right here very lightly in blue above on. In order to do a blue thing, we're going to hit the blue button and then press the button right under it. And the calculator is off, saving your batteries. Yay! Many students want to clear the screen each time that they do a calculation. Frankly, you don't have to because the calculator will continue scrolling. It's one of the reasons we have such a large screen. But to clear the screen, we have a clear button and it's gone. Make the screen darker or make the screen lighter. I've seen some students who have to go through contortions to try and see what is on the screen. But if you look here, there is a blue. Up is darker, down is lighter. To activate the blue things, we hit the blue button and then up to make it darker. That said 5. I'm going to do that a few more times and it shall eventually say 6 as it's getting darker. Seven. Now, we don't necessarily want this too dark because if you have good batteries, it might make it hard to read. So we can do second and down and it will make it lighter. If you find yourself at number 9 and it's still very light, you probably have to change your batteries. And we're back down at 5. The equal sign. So many students say, I have bought this very expensive calculator and I'm going to do 52 minus 17 equals, where is the equal sign? The equal sign is the same place it has always been. It is down here, but now it says enter. Ta-da! Enter a negative number. Many students try and put in a negative 3 as a minus and 3. However, a minus and a negative are not necessarily the same. So if you look, it says previous answer minus 3. I don't want the previous answer minus 3. I just want to enter a negative 3. So I'm going to clear that and put in a negative. See down here? That is your negative 3. We can then do negative 3 plus 1 and we will get negative 2. Using the arrow keys to edit a previous entry. Oh no, I have entered in negative 3 plus 1, but I didn't mean to enter negative 3 plus 1. I want to change it. Instead of retyping anything, I can hit up, up, enter. I can actually go back about 30 lines. And so I can bring this back down, and now I can edit this. Delete and insert. So to edit this, I might want to delete the 1. So we have DEL for delete and INS for insert. Notice that the INS is written in blue, so we'll have to use the blue button first. If I want to delete the 1, I can just hit DEL. And then I can replace it with a number 5. Now, something else to think about. I don't want the number 5, I want the number 6. I can hit the back button and type a 6 right over it. The cursor is currently solid, so therefore we're in overwrite mode. If we want it to be in insert mode, we can use the insert button. So overwrite says I will type over it. And if I wanted that to say 16, I can hit second, INS for insert, and insert a 1 in front of that. Now, I don't have to get to the end. I can just hit enter, and it'll do the problem. I'm going to enter an absolute value in this. This is a TI-83 Plus. Almost every bit of functionality of the TI-84 is available in the TI-83. But let's try and do the same things. We're going to press the Math button. We're going to go over to Number by going to the right. There is absolute value. So we hit Enter. But now it doesn't put the lines for the absolute value. So absolute value of -9, it has a starting parentheses. It is polite, but actually not required to put the end parentheses. The reason it's not required is there's nothing else after it, because I'm just doing an example. This is how it shows the absolute value of -9, and it is still 9. Changing a decimal into a fraction. Many people know that 3 divided by 4 is 0.75. But if you have 0.75, how do you change it back into the fraction 3/4? On this calculator, we can press Math, enter, enter. There are many ways of doing this, but this is one of the fastest. Here we are again with the TI-83 Plus. If we do 3 divided by 4, we will again get 0.75. And Math, enter, enter, we'll change it back into a fraction. But notice that instead of having a top and bottom fraction with a horizontal vinculum, we actually have a 3/4 with a diagonal vinculum. Now we just talked about how the fractions in an 83 look a little different. So if you want to do something like 1/2 plus 3/4, I could enter in 1 over 2 plus 3 over 4, and enter means equals, oh, that is a decimal. So I want to do Math, enter, enter, and change it back into a fraction. This is the fraction 5/4. Now if you want a mixed number, the TI-83 Plus does not do so well with that. If you're going to have something like 5 times 3/4, you would want to have parentheses around your fraction. Here are the parentheses, so 5 times 3/4 would give you 3.75, and Math, enter, enter. What if you knew that you wanted to have a fraction? If I have 6 minus 3 times 5 over 7, and I knew that I had entered a fraction and I wanted to get the answer back as a fraction, I could Math, enter, enter before getting the answer, and it would give it back as a fraction. The TI-84 method lets you enter a fraction that looks like a fraction. How do we do that? We're actually going to use this function key. It's written here in green and it says F1. So to activate it, I'll have to use the green button and then Y1. We'll often call this alpha y equals, and N over D stands for numerator over denominator, and it gives you a fraction that looks like a fraction. And we can enter in 1/2, go after it, and add alpha y equals numerator over denominator 3 over 4. Since I entered this as a fraction, it will give me the answer back as a fraction. But wait, there's more. What if I wanted to do 5 times the fraction 3 over 4. Oops, I put the parentheses in the wrong spot. DEL for delete, right arrow. Now that I'm after the fraction, I didn't actually put in the parentheses and it still worked. Interesting. If I want to put the parentheses in, not that I need it right now, I can up, enter, put the parentheses in, I still get the same answer. Now, the TI-83 had a hard time making this into a mixed number. But if we look at alpha and y equals, this is a unit and a numerator and a denominator. This is a mixed number. And if I want to change back and forth between an improper fraction and a mixed number, I can just hit the number 3. I can also scroll down and hit enter. And what that will do is it says take the previous answer and change it. So it'll change it to the format opposite the one that it already has. Now let's say that I wanted to do something like 6 minus 3 times, and then put in the fraction 5/7. So alpha, y equals numerator over denominator, and we want 5 over 7. Again, we don't have to have the parentheses, but this way it looks just like what's on your paper. And now perhaps I wanted to change it into an improper fraction, or from an improper fraction to a mixed number. Since I see that command right here, I can actually bring that back down and use it again.